If you can just explain the bit about the industrial design team, the product design, and then the manufacturing design that you lay out so well in the book.
Yeah, so this hadn't been written either. Internally, Apple talks about the pyramid structure. So at the tip of the pyramid is industrial design. So in the golden age of Johnny Ive controlling the team, you can think about this being a team of about 24 people, and they're really thinking about the contours, the texture, the materials used to build something. So if we're thinking about the translucent candy-colored iMac or the white iPod with the dial and the chrome back, like ID is the one making those decisions, and they have a sort of godlike presence at the company. In a sense, what they say is how it will be, unless you are able to basically prove that they've defied physics in their attempt to build something, right? The common joke was you'd have to drive the car off the cliff to prove that the brakes don't work. They sort of hand it over to product design. You could think of PD as basically trying to make one of what they've come up with. So they're the team that has to figure out like what circuit boards are we using, what batteries are we using, and how do you fit inside the dimensions of what ID has stipulated. And the way I'm describing it, it makes it sound like they're just sort of like taking the marching orders from ID, but they're brilliant in their own way. So for instance, the original iPhone has a circuit board that is in effect like a sandwich, like it's folded in two just to sort of create more room. And that was because they needed so much more room for other components or a bigger battery so that it had a longer life. And you have to be brilliant to come up with things like that. I should just tell a funny anecdote. I've got a Mac Mini in front of me. That's, like the small computer. And when that was being originated, I think around 2003, 2004, Johnny Ive was speaking to one of his engineers and he said, could you make it such and such size? And the PD guy said, oh yeah, no, absolutely. And he goes, okay, well, what if I lower the dimensions to, this and this? Could you do that? And the guy goes, oh, absolutely. And Johnny Ive says, okay, well, what if I narrow it even further and do this dimensions? And the PD guy said, oh, I wouldn't be able to do that. And he's like, great, those are the dimensions. So Johnny is really trying to push what is even possible. Yeah. And there's lots of examples of that in the book. And actually the early chapters are about what you would call, I think, a failure of Johnny Ive, that his original design for the candy-colored iMac literally cannot be built. I mean, PD is just unable to do it, and they would say, maybe it doesn't defy physics, but it defies the tools we have. We are unable to make one of these, let alone hundreds of thousands. So ID, PD, MD, Ops. That's the pyramid. You start with 24 people. Right. By the time you get to operations, you're talking about thousands of people, and if you're actually including the suppliers, you're talking about millions of people. But the key thing is that it's concurrent. So it's all happening at the same time. So operational breakthroughs lead back into the possibilities of design and aesthetics so that Johnny Ive is then able to sort of realize what's going on. So even though the tasks are clearly delineated, it's not the case that sort of they're not speaking to each other until they reach the final stage. It's all happening at the same time, which is sort of mind-boggling to figure out, but that's absolutely key.